Hi everyone. Are you guys able to hear me? Let me know in the chat. Okay. Good. I think we're live. Let me know if you guys can hear me all right. I don't know if my headphones are working because last time they weren't. And I'm with my phone, so the whole view is a bit strange, but I hope you guys can see me and hear me. Yes. Okay, wonderful. Great. So let me see who's here. MSync. Okay. Welcome, everybody. So I know this was a bit unexpected and it wasn't really planned. I got a little bit delayed because I just had a phone call with my dad. He had some studies made and he's okay, but he was just really eager to tell me about them. Hi, welcome everybody. So nice to see you. Okay, so I wanted to talk a little bit today about some of the themes. Hi, Lulia. Hi, Daniela. Hi, everybody. Welcome, welcome. Just gonna give a few seconds so more people join if they saw my message. But how is everybody doing? Wow, you're in Uluru, Spiro. That's amazing. Oh my God, Linda, it's very late. Thank you for being here. Oh God. Okay, so today I had a very beautiful course, and I just was thinking a lot. Good number, yes. I was thinking a lot about how many people are going through a lot right now, because of the whole situation that we have been living for a while. But there we go. But I wanted to bring some messages in to a little bit of counter that whole notion of, everything has been so bad and so many things are, of course, there are many things that are happening as always, right? But like if we see it from a little bit of a broader perspective, all of this which has been going on has been, hi James, has been contributing to many people awakening, first of all, and also to make the necessary changes that we need to do and have been needing to do for a long time as a society. So I know that we in the spiritual community, it's still like a minority in a way. I know that many of you are, starseeds, light workers, healers, and it's not easy to be the one who is awakened or the one who is carrying more of that developed consciousness, and growing up and being in an environment where there are not many people alike or people that understand you in a deeper level. But through everything that has happened, in a way, I have never seen. Hi, Julie. I have never seen like so many spiritual communities coming to life, and the support that we are offering each other, how fast people are awakening and evolving. And that is one of the things that I wanted to talk a little bit today. about the whole, the awakening, the journey. I know that the last couple of weeks, or maybe even a month, were pretty hard for many. We are still in this portal between the eclipses. We're going to have the next eclipse on the 4th of December. So buckle up. Just kidding. But yeah, we bring changes, the energies are, and we have to remember, like, every time we go up, every time we raise our frequency, whatever was there that is not resonating in that frequency anymore has to sort of like, it gets shook, and then it has to be released. And many times this release can feel like like a dark night of the soul again, or it can feel like a lot of pain, physical pain. Hi, Craig. A lot of healers and light workers have also been getting sick a lot. That also happened for me. Very weird illnesses, and a lot of like transmuting, especially through the throat. But this is part of what we are doing as a collective. And also through diseases, our body, in the end, our body releases those toxins, releases the things that it no longer needs, and it has an opportunity to regenerate. And also our mind calms down, right? When we are ill, we have to slow down. Our mind has to slow down. We can't really think as clearly because our body's not feeling well. So there are many things that affect us, and many times we're put through those states. And I'm speaking for myself, like when I need to rest because I have been doing way too much. Of course, there's something happens, and or I get sick, or I just have like zero energy and I have to take like a couple of days to rest. And after that, my energy is recharged and we go again. So this is actually the first day that I have been feeling like I integrated, or we have been integrating what the last eclipse brought, and we're sort of preparing for this new push with the next eclipse. So the past one was a lot of shedding the old skin, shedding old stuff, maybe even becoming aware of what needs healing right now, what you would like to receive as healing in your life. And also, like, really asking ourselves, what do I want? Like, what kind of world and reality do I want to live in? Because when everything is shaking like this, the foundations are swept away, we have the opportunity to rebuild, right? We have the opportunity to choose now with a different consciousness how we are going to start, creating and building. Mm-hmm. So it's important that you stay in your heart, that you stay in your knowing, and that you allow yourself to feel and be and already create, even if it's only in your bedroom, even if it's only in your house or wherever you live, to create that sort of like micro atmosphere where you feel good, where you feel what you want to feel, where you feel received, even if you're alone, even if it's only by you, where you maybe clear out old, contracts with people, friends, things, places. There's a lot of movement going on internally. Like, what do we no longer need, as always? And many people, when these foundations get shaken or shook, we tend to go into, oh no, this is falling, we're going to lose everything, what am I going to do if I don't have this, or I don't have this job, I don't have this person, or I don't have this ideal situation, or I'm not where I want to be. But right now, of course, we we have to acknowledge that we're going through those things. But instead of focusing on that and sort of like allowing that to slow down your energy, the best thing that you can do if you're going through any kind of challenge or tough situation is to actually use the contrast to build the opposite of that. Because many times, as creative beings that we are, I know there's a lot of this like manifestation going on and how you say things, and all of that is very good. It's very good information. You can apply it. But if deep within you are not really sure of what you want, like if you don't know what you want, if you don't know who you are, if you don't know, for example, your purpose in life, it's very hard to sort of like direct those wishes and those intentions. And it doesn't mean that you have to know exactly what your purpose is. For many, maybe you don't know it exactly, or you just have a feeling, or you're developing it, because we're always developing it. But what I would say to you is for now, for this time, like focus on that. Like you can always ask God, or the creator or the universe, or however you call it, when you connect to your higher self, your divine consciousness. You can always ask it to show you, for example, your purpose. Hi, Anthony. Oh, it's a pleasure to have you here again. It's been a long time. So, because we are spiritual beings and we have a soul, if we're not fulfilling our soul's purpose, it doesn't matter how much we do on the outside world, or how much we achieve, or travel, or do whatever we do. Even if we're leading a very, very normal life, very mundane life, let's say, when you awaken and you have that, you start to, it's like a big old machine starts to run slowly, right? We have to clean it, we have to go through that purification process. But then as it starts moving, it starts like gaining this momentum. And we have to, or we don't have to, but we can choose where we are leading this newfound energy, this newfound like drive or purpose. And it has to be aimed to our soul's purpose. Or if you don't know your soul's purpose, you can aim it at getting to know your soul's purpose. And your soul's purpose is not just one thing, right? Because we're not, we're multidimensional beings, right? So, and we're also not, we have a linear existence here, but in truth, we don't really develop in a linear way. That's why many people get confused sometimes, why some people do a lot of progress in a very short amount of time and some don't, or why some heal miraculously and some take a little bit more time, some take years. And that depends on a couple of things. One is the karma, your own soul's like path design, but also your readiness and your willingness to do what it gets to go through these stages faster. Most of the awakened light workers, all of you guys, who are helping people actively, or who are working on yourself actively, who are who know that you're here to assist yourself, but also to assist others. You have probably had a lot of more deep karmic lessons, or harder lessons than the majority of the people. And this has a purpose, that the more we do, it's like we said, okay, God sent me there. The more I'll do like my super like a crash course, when I get there from age 0 to, I don't know, 20 or to 16 or 30 or whatever. And I will go through a lot of lessons. So by the time that I'm 30 or 40 or whatever age that is for you, I already know what it feels. I already have developed empathy. I have developed compassion. I have developed forgiveness. I have healed myself, so I can share what I learned with others, and I can be in a position where I can guide or I can be of assistance to others, right? The thing is that sometimes as human beings, we tend to, and also because of everything that they sell to us, that what we see, in the media, or if you watch movies or series or all of that, like there's so much that starts to program us towards certain things, and especially also in the Western world, right? So it seems like everybody wants the same, right? And everybody just has one goal, but that couldn't be further from the truth. And for me, actually, the core of manifesting, in a way, has to do with aligning with with who you are, knowing who you are and what you want, and then aligning with your soul's mission. And especially if you are light workers, the moment that you do that, even if it's just a step towards that, and you ask guidance, and when I started sort of like developing my gifts and all that, I didn't really know what to do with them. In the beginning, I was like, okay, I understand, yes, okay, I can use this, but how? Like, how are all these pieces going to come together? And I started like seeing, okay, I have learned this, I have learned that, I have this technique. I was very interested in learning, but then there was a point where it was like, okay, you have learned enough. Now you have to start sharing that knowledge, right? So that's the point that I always call like our self-initiation, when we get to that moment where we're like, okay, let's do this. Like, I'm here, Hi. And it, I never ever did anything about like manifesting, like everything that I manifested in my life, in a way. Thank you so much, Nicole. It was manifested, but more through a surrender to God. After all these hits, it's like, okay, you get up, you get hit again. You get up, you get hit again. In my life, if I would tell you, and I will at one point, I actually want to start writing a book a little bit about my life and how I did what I did. But if you see it very like in a cold way, in a way, there were like super dramatic and harsh situations, at all my, throughout all my lifetime up until this point. And each situation, it was like, okay, like another step and another step and another step. And when I started developing spiritually, one of the things that helped me a lot was something that my shamanic teacher, Agustin, told me, that was, and through the vision of Carlos Castaneda, that a warrior, and I identified so much with a warrior, still do, but it's a little bit more balanced now. But a warrior doesn't take anything that happens in his life as good or bad. Like, no matter how bad the situation is, the warrior doesn't judge it as good or bad, or no matter how good and favorable the situation is, a warrior doesn't judge it as anything. What the warrior does is he just takes it and uses everything he has in that moment to handle that, to solve the situation if it needs to be solved, or to let it go if it can't be solved. And this approach, which is also a little bit masculine, right, in the energy, it helped me balance the excess of emotionality that a lot of the situations that I lived throughout my life had caused. Mm-hmm. And, just to tell you a little bit of things, of a sequence, for example, and I'm not saying this like to say, oh, look what happened to me. I'm just saying it so you have, a point to compare it, and maybe compare even your own life, and to see, okay, when these really hard things and challenges happen, we tend to focus on them solely, or we tend to focus on all the negative things that they left in us, or everything we lost, But when we start to relate to God, and we start to see everything and everyone as a manifestation of God, then we can't really judge God as good or bad, right? So you start to develop this like more neutral point of view, and you can actually go back and see, oh, okay, like this, having this kind of parent, taught me this. Having been born in a place where there was no food, or where we didn't have anything to eat, it made me, do this. And no matter how hard, or how, like, because, we're all different, and we all have different perceptions of what hard is, or what easy is, right? It depends on everything, where we were born, how we were raised, what culture, and what everything is just like there are a variety of things that can happen. But for most light workers and healers, it has to do a lot, with the family and learning lessons from a very, very young age. I remember starting to heal people, and knowing that I was here to heal, and wanting to heal my mother and my brother since I was 2 years old. I remember even in the womb of my mother, feeling her energy and being like, oh my God, like, what is this? Like, what am I doing here? Like a very, very different energy, her energy from mine. So that even as, I had these memories, or they came when I was meditating, that even when I was in her womb, I could feel the stress and the discomfort, because it wasn't an energy that was actually matching my energy, right? So anyway, so we have these challenges, right? And what I would tell you is always focus on the other side of that challenge. Like, what did that challenge bring you? What did that give you as a positive thing? Maybe it developed your character. Maybe you learned to be very compassionate. I remember, for example, I had a friend when we were, I don't know, we were pretty young, I don't know, like 12 or 13 or something like that. And once he was like crying with me, or like very sad, and saying, because he wasn't really good looking, or pretty, or whatever. He was extremely intelligent being. He still is a very good mathematician, and so on. And he was like, I've never had my first kiss, and everybody had their first kiss or whatever. And he was like, I haven't. And he was very sad. And I was like, do you want me to kiss you? Like, we can, I don't care, and then you can, because people were sort of like bullying him because he hadn't had a first kiss or something. Um, but the reason that I did that is just a very random example, but the reason that I did that was because deep down I also knew how it felt, like even though in another place and another layer, but I knew already at that age, um, how it felt to be not seen or feeling, rejected or feeling, having been bullied also. And so many of the things that we live, even as little children, where we have our innocence, there, those are the things that start to develop our character and start to develop or also um, these virtues, right? Understanding compassion, understanding, when you are with someone, for example, here in Mexico, I grew up also seeing a lot of people who had nothing, right? Or who were very, very poor, um, in the tent of my grandmother, but here in Mexico, everywhere, like the difference between social classes are so, so big. And I grew up sort of between these two worlds. And even that, like, if I hadn't experienced that other world, I probably wouldn't have developed um, the understanding that there is no difference. Like, there is no difference. And I would have also not seen perhaps people, who have lost everything or who have almost nothing, and still they invite you to their house, for example, and they offer you their food. If they have like one thing to eat, they will share it with you and they will give everything. And then also seeing, the other side of that coin with people who have a lot of things, and they are very afraid to lose it or to give, or it's not even, in their culture to give, or not even in their culture. It's not even in, like, for me, it's a thing of putting yourself in the shoes of the other, someone who has gone through a big loss or through tragedy or through a lot of pain, or who has lost a loved one. That person will know what to say to someone when that someone loses something or someone else. You know what I mean? So if we came here as healers, what do healers do? um, so much of what we are meant to help other people heal, or even inspire, or even just be, sometimes it's just being there, and people feeling your energy, or people receiving a smile from you, or people, um, anything, just you being in your energy and anchoring peace within you, um, focusing on your love. It doesn't matter even what you're going through, you are still anchoring the light. And of course, this goes in degrees, and of course, we do purify and we develop, and we start to develop more of these positive qualities. But it's never through force, and it's never through like judgment, but rather it's through choice. It's through our own, choice. We have free will. So for me, the most powerful tool to manifest has always been choosing. Do I want to do this? Hi, Estella. Do I want to do this? Like, do I want to go to this school or that school? Do I want to do this meditation? Am I going to commit to this spiritual practice? Am I going to commit to something? Like, we choose. No one is forcing you to do absolutely anything. The thing with all of this is that intention, like setting the intention, when you start to become conscious, you can still do the same things that you did before, but they're going to have a whole other layer that, you didn't see before. Like when they start saying, okay, we start seeing beyond the veil, you start seeing that, oh my God, this person on the street is also God, and they're talking to me, and maybe they have a message for me. Maybe I have a message for them. Maybe I am exactly where I need to be all the time. Maybe even if I'm doing my laundry, uh, you know, I can have a very beautiful moment of relating to myself, of relating to my soul. I can talk to God while I do my laundry. I can talk to God while I do the dishes. I can, you know, be in that connection all the time. And that's what, the spiritual awareness brings, that we start to feel the divine energy, we start to know and intuit like the divine plan, or we start to hear our soul more. And we see that a being is not only this, like what we see the outside, but a being is like a universe. If we could just like rib and like look inside, it would be like a whole other universe. And if we think that we are that as well, imagine how much of you there is to discover. And the more you discover that of you, the more tools you develop to actually create your reality. Because we're not here just to, have a routine and do some things and that's it. No, we're here for very specific things. There are lessons that we need to learn. There are lessons that we need to teach. There are people who are going to teach us. We are, having this incredible adventure of the soul. And an adventure always has highs and lows, right? Always. So you can see in your life, every time you had a challenge, try to see, okay, when was the challenge and then what happened after? Did I have a moment of joy? Did hope kick in again? Like, did I experience a miracle? Did something happen? Did someone come to me and just gave me a hug, or did I find the love of my life? Did I find a soulmate? There are always things that we learn, and they're also not to be seen, always as good and bad. Like, of course, you can focus on the things that you have gained and the things that you have learned, and you can also always set your intention, every day. What I do, for example, is just, God, I want to experience a day full of miracles and wonder and adventure and beauty, no matter what I do, no matter what I'm doing. Let's do this. And if you want me to do anything of service, I'm here for you. Hi, triple Mers. So it does take this surrender, but it's not a surrender that it is scary in the beginning. I'm not gonna lie. But like anything, it was also scary the first time that you drove a bike, right? When you were little, the first time that they take the little wheels off, you're like, oh my God, oh my God. Like, you don't know if you're gonna fall. You don't know, probably many of you, we fell and then we got up again and then we did it again. It's the same thing with other things in life. Like, sometimes things work out, sometimes things don't work out. Sometimes we have to live through, and I say this also with my heart, because I know that it's not easy, and I'm not saying it is, but if you survived that, if you went through that hardship, try to, see how that made you even stronger, how that made you um, see the world differently, how it made you expand your consciousness, expand your perspective. Mhm. Oh, hi, Larissa. Yes, please come. Come to the goddess retreat that we're gonna do next year, hopefully. If everything allows us. Um, so I just wanted to tell this story a little bit about my brother. I know some of you know about my brother. I have talked about this a little bit more, um, especially I think in the full moon healings or in private sessions and so on. But for those of you who don't know, my brother is 2 years older than me, and he was born with a lack of oxygen. He had his, the umbilical cord like wrapped 3 times around him, and so he had this brain damage, right? That caused brain damage and so on. And then, from there, all his life he has had this condition. So all my life I have lived with a brother who is about 4 to 5 years old mentally, even though he's way older now, right? And there were also a lot of challenges in that growing up in that situation, because I came into this world when my parents found out about everything. And I just remember there was a lot of chaos and drama in hospitals and all of these things happening. But I remember even since then saying, I'm going to stay here. I'm going to stay here with my brother. Like, I would wake up 3 in the morning, my mother would be crying, people screaming, chaos. My brother was sitting in the tub. They were trying to get his fever down, because when he had fever, he would have seizures. And it was very dangerous for him to have seizures. It still is. He still takes regular medicine for that. But when he was little, it was like the most complicated time, I guess. And my father, who is half Spanish, he would always sing these Spanish songs to my brother to distract him, while he was sitting in the tub and they were just like trying to get his fever down. And this went on, I think, since I was like born until I was like, I don't know, probably like 6 or 7. And I still remember to this date all those songs that my father sang. Like, me and my brother remember them, like all of the words, right? All of the lyrics. And I actually still sing them to my brother because he really likes those songs. Well, he's a fanatic of the music and he has an incredible memory for music. So he knows all songs that we have ever heard in our lives, since we were little. Hi, dear, thank you. So with him, there were, many things that I could tell about my childhood with him, and with other kids like him, and I was always surrounded with children with Down syndrome and all that. And one of the greatest gifts that I had, in a way, was that my brother has never, like, he has never ceased to be a kid. He has never lost that, like that innocence, because of his condition. Of course, he has also developed in other things, and sometimes we even like send each other messages telepathically, and he's very aware of his mission, and he laughs when I do healing for him. He's the only person that, usually people fall asleep or relax when I do healings, and he just laughs at me. So, he has like a super high vibration, and this understanding of the world, even though, he would seem to someone very limited. I remember people always telling me, and even today, like, "Oh, I'm sorry that your brother's sick," or, "Oh, I'm sorry that you know," and I would always be like, I understand where they're coming from, but even and when I was younger, I was like, well, he has the greatest time of his life, like he's playing all the time, like people, he doesn't have to do anything. Everybody does everything for him. And of course, he has had many conditions, a lot of surgeries throughout the years. He has fallen. Like, there was always something that happened, right? Something that couldn't be prevented. And I think growing up with a situation like that, it really made me sort of like take the unpredictability of life as something that is welcome. Because, the more open you are to the unknown, the more open you are to possibilities, there's, not only like the bad things are going to show up, but the very, very good things. So always where we have this polarity, like if you have gone through so much heartbreak in your life, your capacity to love is so great. Like if you embrace it and you don't let it sort of like shut you down, if you go through it, your capacity to love and to be loved will be that much greater. Mm-hmm. I remember I read that, in a quote from Khalil Gibran. He was like the first poet that I started reading when I was little, and I fell in love with his poetry. And with that, which he said, that the more you, just paraphrasing, but the more you can hold in sort of like tears, or the more your sadness is, the more space you also have to feel joy and to feel love and to feel alive. And for me, my brother having this, it always gave me a perspective, and it always gave me this like other point of view, that even, though many times it was completely chaotic, and I think that's also what a lot of new parents experience with a baby, it changes your life, it changes your reality. Well, with my brother, there's always this like magic effect that you don't know what's going to happen, when, how, um, and also that he doesn't care, he doesn't care about what people think. He is just himself, right? He's just being, he's in the moment. Of course, he also has his moods, and he's very social, he loves people. He has his personality like everybody, but like at the core, even like the things that I remember when I was like a teenager, I was like, oh my God, no, like they're going to see me, and he's doing this, or this happened. I remember I was walking once in the mall with him, and all of a sudden, like, he's very skinny, and his pants were a little bit big, and the pants just fell, It didn't notice, and I was holding his hand, because you can't not hold his hand, because at that time he would probably run off or something. And so I just hear him laughing, and then I just look, and I'm like, oh my God, and the pants were like on his ankles, and I was like, oh no, and then I just put them up, and people staring and all that, and I was like, oh no. I was like, oh, sorry, I didn't notice. And he was just laughing, like, he was laughing at me that I was like stressed about the situation, right? And countless things like that. And even, sometimes just being like a regular family, going to eat, and then suddenly, him having a seizure in the middle of the street, or in the middle of a restaurant or a place, and then, me and my mother having to or my dad having to catch him, and ask the waiters for water or something, and being there until the seizure was over. So, these things that sometimes when we are so used to maybe our routine or living our life in a certain way, um, we we tend to forget or maybe to overlook um, the greatness that is there in each moment, and the opportunity that each moment offers us to grow, to develop, and to you know become more of who we are, or to even become better human beings in a way, if that's something that you want to do, or better observers of life, or better witnesses of creation, because we're part of creation, right? And so this that happened throughout all my life with my brother, um, it was always like this check-in of the real reality, like what's really important right now. And then, after many things, I was in Germany. I lived a long time there. I came back. I sort of lost everything after my sort of like dark night of the soul, second awakening. Everything just, you know, kind of like disappeared. The person that I was with, well, it didn't disappear. I chose to experience this. But, I lost the love, um, the person I was going to marry, the career that I had, the thing that I like doing the most, apart from healing, which is painting. Um, like everything that I had created for some time, it just like boom, and I had to start from zero, right? From scratch, moving to another country again, and just starting from zero. And then when I started to get back up again, uh, in a way, creating and doing some things and projects, maybe someday I will share with you. Um, but I was doing something to help children through art. I had an NGO and things like that, and then all of that came also crashing down. So I was like, okay, so what do you want me to do, God? Like, okay, it wasn't that, okay, we're going here. Okay, so what I found in that moment, which was one of the worst moments, I think, in my life, but now that I see it, it was actually one of the biggest blessings in my life, that I had nothing. So I had a moment where I could just reflect on why I was doing what I was doing, and what were really the reasons for everything. And that was my higher soul, my higher self, aligning me with my true purpose. Because before that, there was a part of me that was always in resistance or in fight, you know? Oh, hi, Fernanda. You're welcome. So before, there was this part that was in resistance, or that was like striving or trying to do something, or trying this, trying that, like always like in a fighter mode, like let's like very masculine, also like this very um like this sense of responsibility, and this sense of everything that we learn in a way. And for me, I also had a lot of this sort of like extra responsibility, because I have always known that when my parents are not here anymore, I'm going to be responsible for my brother, which is basically like having a child, right? And of course, we never know when things are going to happen or how they're going to happen. But yeah, I remember signing a thing where I'm responsible for my brother since I was like I don't know, like 10 or something, like the guardian there. Oh, thank you. Um, so anyway, after this, where I was just like, starting to get back up, and then everything fell again. And then I understood something that one of my Buddhist teachers said when I was in Berlin, and he said it in general, to the German society. Um, and he said something like, there must be something wrong. Like, what you have built is perfect. Everything functions. It's really, you have very beautiful, things that you have built in the society or the economy or whatever. It functions, everything is good, everything is on time, everything is built safely, not like here or like in other countries where things sometimes are built like very bad, and it's a contrast, of course. But then he said, but you know what I see as a problem? No one smiles. I was like, no one smiles. Oh. And he told because most of the people that were in that lecture were German or were European. They were from there, and he literally made everybody like smile. And then he said, when your foundation is not considering what makes people happy, even though it can be perfect, it's not going to last, or it's not going to sustain for a long time. And it will not have the benefits that it could have if it were built on that foundation. And spiritually, what that means is that the things that, especially if you're spiritual and if you're awakened, if you're trying to build anything that is not holding the current frequency that your soul wants to experience, like that your soul is guiding you towards, no matter how much you try to achieve something in the outside world, it's going to feel very hard, you know? Yes, Anthony, I know you were in Frankfurt. So many times, the things that happen in our life that happen to us when we are very fixed on something, or where we want this or we want that and we want to achieve this, have worked in my life with so many especially women that are extreme like overachievers and perfectionists, and everything has to be one way, and and of course there's a good thing to be able to want to do things right, but if the foundation doesn't have smiles, if it doesn't have love, if it doesn't have appreciation for everything, and if it doesn't have like that neutrality, that non-judgment, the more you grow higher in frequency, even though you build a beautiful structure, that structure will no longer resonate with you in that moment. So even that will have to fall. Mm-hmm. So when things fall or when things end, my advice for you is to see it as, we have a blank canvas again. Let's do this. We can start again. And it's not that you're going to start the same thing, because you're going to start at a different level of awareness. Mm-hmm. So for example, I don't know if any of you, I know many of the people who come to this channel are artists too, or have, an artistic side. For example, when you see a painting, or when you're painting a painting, part of the process that the whole painting goes through, that the majority of people don't see, is that, first of all, well, it depends how you paint, right? But first of all, it's not linear, it's not something that, especially if you're talking about abstract art, which is like my favorite, you're not just like putting one thing after the other after the other. And even if you do realist paintings, like the way the painting is made, you have to have the capacity to sort of like see the little piece that you're working on, and at the same time having in your head the entirety of the composition of what the whole picture of the painting is going to be. Or if you paint like I painted, that I was just channeling and I had no idea what I was going to paint. Just like when I talk here, I don't know what I'm going to say. It just starts coming. A lot of the process is, of adding and taking away, adding and taking away, adding and taking away. It's not just adding, 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 adding. If you paint adding, 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 I mean, probably there are some painters that can do that, or that do that intentionally. But usually a painting has all different kinds of processes which involve going forward and then going backwards and then going forward again and then going backwards. And many times the hardest part for the painter is to know when the painting is actually done, because you can always sort of go backwards or go forwards again. And if you really are not satisfied, then you can paint everything white again and start again. Mm-hmm. So in our lives, when we see our lives, because a lot of what we manifest, a lot of what we're living right now is a direct result of our soul's path, our soul's mission, and of course our free will, all the choices that we have made in our life. And through this consciousness, what we can do is, if you don't want to deal with something anymore, like if you have been dealing with something or with a problem or with a disease or with any situation, the first thing is to take back the power from that situation. Mm-hmm. And instead of, saying, oh, it was this person, or it was this, or this happened, taking the power back to you and saying, okay, I created this. Let me see why I created this. Can I learn the lesson? Do I know what the lesson is? Okay, yes, no. Can I let go? Okay. Can I start again? Can I give myself that space to be able to start again in that area, for example? Of course, it can also involve, like thought work and healing and maybe even psychology, whatever you want. But the main decision, and what I have seen in my life that always creates miracles, is by simply just saying, yeah, like Anthony said, like I'm grateful. Not taking anything or anyone for granted, because we never know, we never know. And also just keeping the, that two point view, like the one where you can really focus and hone in on the situation and, work it out if you need to work it out, but also the bigger perspective of how that can actually, contribute to the life that you want. How maybe having a negative experience allows you to discover what you don't want to experience anymore, what you don't want to, how you don't want to live. Maybe you want to live differently, but if we don't experience that, how are we going to know? It's the same thing with little children when they're like, oh, I want to try that. And mothers are always like, well, you haven't tried it. How do you know if you like it or you don't like it, right? So it's a little bit the same thing. Or we can look at it in a more like detached or playful approach. I know it's not easy to do that, but when we give ourselves too much importance, or when we give too much importance to the things that happened to us and what didn't happen, and who did what and what I did, and that creates this sort of like attachment to the past, and it just holds that energy in place. And instead of us creating what we do want, we may repeat the same thing because we still haven't let go completely of that situation. And we have to understand that the more consciousness we have, so the more you develop your connection to the divine, right, through the crown chakra, the more you're connected, the more your spiritual centers start to become bigger. The more they become bigger, the more projection you have. So the more sort of like energy you have, the more influence you have in your environment, in yourself. As a healer, you become a more powerful healer. What perhaps maybe took you 2 hours to heal 5 years ago, now it takes you half an hour, or now you do it in 3 minutes. It's not linear, like I was saying, but it has to do with how you're doing your spiritual practice, where you're aiming your effort, and where you're focusing on. And if we think that all of our thoughts travel faster than light, imagine how many messages we send to the universe on a daily basis. How many of those thoughts are actually helping you? How many of those thoughts are actually contributing to you feeling good in the reality where you want to live in? That's why all of the spiritual teachings go back to, first and foremost, doing purification and purifying the mind and understanding how your mind works, so that the mind doesn't sabotage everything that you want to do. Because a mind that is full with all sorts of thoughts, imprints, memories, programming from everything, even little children have already a lot of programming. Imagine a person who is 50 years old. Imagine a person who is 70 or 80. Like, that's why they become like hardened in their ways, because there's just so much programming, but there's no like sweeping off the things that they no longer need. That's why we always focus so much on making a space, taking out the trash, right? Making room for what we do want, being in control of that, because we can be in control of our thoughts. That's the thing. We may not control like our reality directly, but we do manifest it through all the things that play out in our thoughts. So similarly to the painting analogy, like if a part of you thinks, oh, I'm going to manifest this, and then another part of you is like, another thought is like, oh no, like this will never happen to us, blah, blah, blah. Like, these things are contradicting each other, Also in healing, like sometimes when we have been programmed so much that we're sick, I have this, I have that, I have this, then, the mind continues to create that reality because you're saying that to yourself. And for example, and those thoughts, those programs can create certain resistance to the healing itself. Sometimes it's because it's part of the soul lesson, but sometimes it's simply like, maybe there's even a fear within that, if I heal myself, who am I going to be? I'm so identified, at a level with my disease that if I'm healed, I don't even know what I'm going to do, So our unconscious beliefs, as well as our conscious beliefs, are thought forms that are conscious or unconscious. Sorry, guys, the music went out. Both of them are also contributing in the creation of our reality. So that's why all spiritual practices, what they teach you is get to know how your mind works, get to know how your emotions work. Because the mind, the thoughts influence the emotions influence our actions influence the results. Like, this is a very simple way to put it, but it is like a chain of things. So if we go inside and we're able to create that space and know how our mind functions and know that even if I'm thinking a negative thought, I can, clear it, or I can train my mind, train myself to believe the things that I actually want to believe in. Just like a little kid, when they, for example, when they're playing and maybe they don't have toys or whatever. When I was little, I would play with, my biggest plays were like, oh, I'm a fairy, or I don't know, or I'm a spy. and I would be in that reality, Of course I wasn't a spy. Of course I wasn't even dressed like a spy. Of course I wasn't a fairy. Of course I wasn't flying. But in my reality, was I flying? 100%, I was flying. Was I a fairy? I was a fairy 100%, So that part of us that is very innocent and that is also not attached to the outcome, that is like flowing freely, and it just creates because that's what we do as humans. We create. So the more you can see that and also see how much you have like created, in your life. Maybe when you were little, maybe you wanted to manifest, I don't know, that Santa brought you a cat, and then he did. Well, you also influenced that in a way. But through all this programming, we sort of like lose that ability when when we get older. We kind of like lose that faith in magic. We lose the faith in our gifts and our capacities. We try to be normal, we try to fit in, but in a society that has repressed all of these beautiful qualities for such a long time, that has controlled us, of course, they're like the main energies had been that, and also the whole, patriarchal systems and whatever, all of that. So now, for me, the best advice that I can give you, to create your life, is to first really know what you want, and not as in like physical stuff, but like, how do I want to, like, in what kind of world do I want to live? How do I want my day to day to be? How do I want to feel? Do I want to feel calm in the morning? Do I want to feel satisfied? Do I want to feel content? Do I want to feel beautiful no matter how I dress, or if I showered or not? Do I want to be, do I want to feel loved? Do I want to feel cherished? Do I want to feel like I can take on the world? Do I want to feel like I am, I'm giving things to people, that I'm here to sharing my gift? What do you want to feel? Even if you don't know what your gift is. Like, do you want to wake up every day knowing that you are doing what you came here to do, and that you're living your soul's mission? And if you do, just ask for it. I always say, ask and you shall receive. I did that, with everything. I was like, God, you know, Even when I was like in a very bad, perhaps emotional shape, or even after going through many things and challenges and stuff, I would still be like, God, I don't, just tell me where to go. Like, guide me, guide my words, guide my path, guide my dreams. I would always ask for like the strength to continue to do, and for God, for this divinity within me to show me uh, the way and to let me know that I am in the right path. And after I set that intention, then I just relaxed into it. Just like when the child writes the letter to Santa Claus, he just thinks, okay, I want this. Okay, cool. And then he puts it under a tree and then he goes back to playing, right? Doesn't care what happened. He just knows that that thing is going to come, you know. And maybe even Santa Claus brought another gift, but maybe at that moment he doesn't even care anymore about that. That happened to me many times that um, I received gifts that I didn't really ask for, because all of the gifts that I asked for had always to do with animals. I wanted to have a farm in my house. And so, Santa Claus never brought me a tiger and things like that. But it didn't care, because it was like when you let go of the thing, like when you say, okay, I would like this, but then you let go, then God or the universe or the divine energy will bring you just what you need. Oh, Lulia. Yes, me too. Always animals. Um, and the more we trust that in our path, the more we get proof that it actually works. Just like healing. Uh, you know, I am very fascinated with how so many times, like, our conditioned mind wants to have, like, proof of everything, proof that this is working, proof that this, I don't know, proof that, but like, if we see it in a very like rational way, the percentage of our brain that we use is so small. Like, we are so small in comparison to the whole universe that it's even funny and a little bit absurd that we would want to try to control or comprehend the universe, right? From that perspective, because we're seeing it as a separate thing. But when we actually come inside that, knowing that I am the universe, I have a universe within me, I am part of everything, then it's way easier to, let things be, and go. Of course, you can always have your, like, what you want, your desires, or your um for me, I would say always, like, look for your life purpose, because someone who has a life purpose, when people say, oh, like, they're living their calling, or I'm doing my calling, that no matter what happens in your life, that will always um, give you strength. It will always give you and bring to you all the tools that you need to fulfill that. Because no matter how we see it, for me, God or the divine is always supporting us to evolve, right? And so what it means is we are supporting ourselves as our higher soul to become the best version of ourselves that we can be in this lifetime, let's say, or to learn the most that we can learn in this lifetime. And the ones of you who also have a calling towards others, it's like a double thing. And almost everybody, because we all influence each other, no matter if you are someone that works, with the bees, or someone who works in the country, or if you are like a CEO of a big company or whatever, like everything is connected. Um, and what I have found to manifest in the easiest way, where you can just like, you know, flow. And it's not like things, they just rain from the sky. But when you're doing your soul's purpose, you don't care to work after hours. You don't care to do what you have to do, because you know that it's your mission and you're happy doing it, you know? Like there is no other way of describing, like it's such a feeling of just satisfaction and completion, even if it's just one fleeting moment. Like for me, when I hear from you, any of you, when you say thank you, or even when you leave me a heart emoji, I'm getting emotional. Like even that, like that is kept in somewhere, like in the treasures, of my heart forever. That's always going to be there. Because for me, it doesn't matter how small, if I could give a tiny bit of uh of hope, or if I did someone say a little bit better, like even if, you know, the smallest thing, like that can, that just fills me up in a way that um it's very magical. It's like I just feel, we are just one. And that doesn't mean that I have to be feeling that all the time, or, you know, it doesn't. It just means that even a second, in our life, even a moment can last so long. And that's why I say always, like, don't take things for granted. Like, even if you're sad, even if you've been in a depression, and I know what it's like because I was depressed. I think most of, I don't know, many years, probably around. I started to become very sad when I was about 11. Um, like really sad. Like if I show you my pictures of my birthdays, I was just like, you know, like just having the whole weight of the of the world, right? Um, but if you're sad now, or if you're going through something, like try to even see. I know it's hard to see the other side when you're there, but it's like try to even say, I'm enjoying being so sad right now. Like, yes, like I'm being sad, I'm not doing anything, and this probably has a purpose. I'm probably developing things that I didn't know I had in me. And you can also always check and ask God and say, like if you're tired of being sad, because one thing is like being sad or being depressed and not wanting to come out of it, and then there's like being sad and being depressed and wanting to come out of it and not being able to, or going back and forth, you know? If you're going back and forth, you're already halfway there. You're already adjusting. Oh, you're welcome, darling. You're already adjusting, okay? You're already like holding more of your light. The more you hold, the more of that sadness starts to come up, starts to go away. It doesn't mean that you're not going to be sad ever. I think for me now, I had a good cry the other day. Like I was crying, like so much. And I have always done that. Probably the last, since I started more of the service, I don't do that anymore. But it's also because I have so much work and I'm always in a neutral state that I don't even become aware. If I stop working and just have a day for myself, then I process a lot of things, right? So, but I was like so happy that I was feeling so much. Because when you don't feel, right, or when you're very neutral all of the time, you also like everything has to balance itself out. We do need to go through these fluctuations and we do need to go through these contrasts in order to appreciate the other. And the more we like come to terms of, okay, like instead of resisting the situation, saying, okay, this is happening. Okay, how am I going to deal with this? How am I going to react? Am I going to like, like throw myself in the river or, um, become mad or become whatever? How am I going to handle it? And if I am mad, which is completely valid, okay, how am I going to handle that emotion? How am I going to handle that anger? Can I perhaps go jogging and, take it out or go boxing in the boxing thing, or can I, do like scream, um, or do something that allows me to process that anger. But because when you have a certain level of consciousness, you can't continue to play by the old rules. So a person that is not conscious, maybe they become angry and they start to lash out at everybody, or they scream at the neighbor who had nothing to do with it, or they scream at their kid, or they take it out on someone else. And that's someone who's not emotionally regulated, right? And emotionally regulated doesn't mean that you don't feel those emotions and you don't have your highs and lows, but it just means that when they come, you know what to do and you know how to like safely process them without, impacting others and generating more karma for yourself and the other, person who's just like walking by, nothing to do with it, getting all that energy. Hmm. So before I close and do the healing, the story that I wanted to tell you is about, I told you a little bit about my brother to put it in context, but after that time that I sort of like lost everything again, um, just like the day before that whole like period ended, I got a call from my mother that my brother was in the hospital and he was in the other place, like in the coast where my parents live, and he was really really ill with pneumonia, and he had lost like 3/4 of his lung capacity, and in that place where my parents lived, they're not like hospitals, they're just like very small clinics, and he was being treated there, and he was actually alone with my father. My father is older, as some of you know, and the doctors basically said that he made it like this close, and they were sort of able to stabilize him there, but they didn't have what they needed to treat him there because it was one of like the worst pneumonias that you can catch. It was like a hospital pneumonia or something like that. And so they had to fly him to Mexico City, where I was. And I was already at the hospital waiting when they flew him, and with my parents. And I remember seeing my brother, who, because even though he's in his condition, he has always been like so strong in a way, he has always been so strong, always laughing, always. And when he came, he could barely he couldn't speak. He was all like tubed up and all that, and he looked like so like, just like laying there, and he could barely he couldn't speak. He wasn't aware of what was happening. Um, and I remember I went into the room with him. I was left alone with him while the pneumonia specialist or whatever came, and it was a small room, so I went in to see if I could do something to heal him. And hi, Alex. And I remember being in that little room with my brother, all attached to these things and to the oxygen and all that, and his eyes closed, and all. I think his mouth was all bruised, and his everything, really. And I was like this close. Like I was like, okay, you have two options here. Either you like break right now, and you're not able to do anything, right? Or you do what you have always done. So in that moment, I sort of like shook myself, and I was like, God, just turned to God, and I was like, God, I'm not in my right mind. I have like zero energy, like because I also had like weeks or months without sleep because of this thing that I was doing, this project with the NGO and so on. I was like, please just make me a vessel for your healing, for your love. Whatever I can, like, whatever you can bring to my brother in this moment, if there's anything that I can do, please guide me, because I can't even focus on anything. And immediately after I did that, which was like an invocation, that's why we also, invoke always before healing, I felt so much support, and I called all of his angels and my angels and everybody, like the whole team, everyone that I could think of. Like, please come in, just help me move my hands, because in person I do a lot with my hands. So I just started doing that. I started to become very calm, very, very calm. And all the emotion and all of the perspective that I had been carrying that had a lot to do with my parents' perspective, and my mother also like breaking, my father breaking. I had never seen my father in my life like that ever. But when I went there and it was just me, my brother, and God, basically, I just felt this peace, and I just started to do what I always do, with all my patients. And I felt how something, like I was working on his lungs specifically, when I felt this like this shift, and I asked, and I just heard a voice that said, like, he's going to be okay, he's going to make it. At that point, we didn't know anything. The specialist hadn't even seen him, like they didn't know anything. But I heard that voice, and I was like, yes, he's going to make it. And in that process, after that, like, of course, I continued to do the healing. I also talked to him. I was there the whole time. He needed to go into like a surgery and then come back out there, and he was in the hospital a very long time. And me and my parents would, but basically he made it, and he started to become better and better, thank God. um, and I just, in the midst of all that, I just like I developed this faith, or I just had this calm, like I had this calmness through the whole thing, that like still to this day, like I remember being surprised, and I was like, I don't think I would have ever been able to even heal my brother, to go in there and not break apart like a human being, um, and the reason that I did was because of all the things that I have lived so far, because of all the healings that I have done, but also because of all of the patients that I had seen, also because of all the situations that I was faced with. So there's always a reason for everything, even in the worst moments, and even in that moment, I was like, God, tell me what to do. If I can do anything, please guide me, and help me help my brother. But I wasn't saying like, oh, you have to make him stay, or I was like, what you're doing, God, but if I can help in any way, please use me if it's meant for everybody. And I think a lot of times we are in those situations in our life, in our human life, and we don't even really pay attention to how, we've been heroes many times, not just for others, but maybe for our own selves. Maybe we have been heroes for our inner child. Maybe we're being heroes now as we're healing, our inner children. So these things, which are miracles, they happen to us. And they happen not just when everything, when there's like a tragedy or when things get really bad, but they happen also when things are really good. But we have to have eyes to see them. And we can also, apart from that, we can also make that a part of our reality, if that's something that you want to experience. Like, no one can choose for you how you deal with things and how you live your life and what you do. And I always say this to my students, like, if you want to quit your life right now and go, move across the world and, change your name, change your hair, you can do it. Like, no one is stopping you from doing that. No one stops you from, one day getting crazy and, I don't know, it's not just waiting for Halloween to wear a costume or dressing differently or whatever your heart wants, whatever. That has to do a lot with the inner child, but also like, just experiencing a day full of joy and laughter. If we can invoke other things, if you can invoke a job or you can invoke money or, all these things that people are always invoking, don't you think that you can invoke like a beautiful day, with someone you love, or that you can, invoke to meet someone who, you can grow with and change each other's lives? Of course you can. You can invoke whatever you want. You just need to set the intention and then get your thoughts in check. Check the thoughts that they're all going forward, not, crossing lines. And that's it. And also always asking God, in manifesting, I personally, I have always said, like, if this is for me, please put it in my path. And if it's not for me, then, you know, I trust that it will be something better. And that has always worked. Like, even in these like extreme situations, like I have also almost died like twice in my life. And when these things happen and, I was alone both times, I was just like, God, if you want me here, please help me. And if not, I'll go, I'll go. I'm not saying that you have to do that, please. Okay. This is like coming from a very internal and also spiritual perspective, but that's how I sort of live my daily life. But please don't do it if you haven't sort of like walked the path to getting to that place, where it's like something that just develops naturally. Because it's not that I don't care about life or that I don't care about my life or my brothers or anyone's. But it's more like um, a deep trust in in the benevolence of the energy that we are, and in the purpose of everything that happens to us or that we create. So just, accepting things sometimes allows us to change them. The thing that makes us like stay longer than we would like to in situations is when we don't accept them or when we don't let go. And I know that letting go is um, one of the lessons that we learn, especially through spirituality. Like, I mean, if you look at the Buddhists and everything, it's so much about detachment from the material, detachment, letting go of this, of that. Why? Because a lot of our suffering comes from that attachment to things and to people. But it's not like a healthy attachment, let's say. Oh, thank you, Lulia. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. It's not like like a normal attachment. It's like an attachment that creates suffering, or that creates pain. And when we start to live more in the flow, of of life, and when we like trust our inner knowing, when we trust our intuition, when we even if we don't trust, but if we dare to trust a little bit more every day and to set our intentions and know that it's there, like God is listening. He's not on a break. you know he's not uh, on vacation. He's actually everything. And also to know that I know that in manifestation they say, okay, so write everything super detailed and da da da. But sometimes when we don't know what we want, you can also ask God, like, God, I have no idea what I want. I have no idea what I'm going. And I've done this so many times in my life. Still do sometimes. I have no idea, like, what I'm supposed to do. But I know that you know. So please show me. I'm here, I'm ready. Let's go. Just show me where, what, when, and show me in a way that I can't possibly miss it. And usually the way that God shows you the way is by, your heart just having this impulse that just pulls you, like in the cartoons when the heart goes out and it just pulls you somewhere. That's how it feels. And sometimes it pulls you to another place. Sometimes it pulls you to turn on the radio at a given moment. When we see all the synchronicities that people really love, that's your soul. Like, that's your soul saying, go here, do that, do that. And sometimes we need those periods of like inactivity in order to prepare for big periods of a lot of activity. Sometimes we need periods of being alone in order to prepare for periods of being with a lot of people. It also depends on your nature and what you need, and you can also adjust to that. But no matter what you're going through, know that there's always going to be like the flip side of that. We are always going to have this. Okay. It doesn't mean that everything is going to come crash down but sometimes it means losing can be also something very good. Sometimes we lose parts of our personality that we don't need anymore, or that were damaging to us, or that were self-destructive. That's a good thing to lose, right? Shaking that out. There's a song from Lila Downs. I don't know if you know her. I really liked it when I was younger. This song about the snake, the rattlesnake. Like it just says like shake away like all the sorrows and shake away because that's what we actually do. You can do it by crying and like stamping your feet, or you can do it by dancing. Like the choice is yours. And just about the story that I told you with my brother, it's not that I take it, lightly, or that, these things, but they're just part of the miracles of life. They're part of what, makes us appreciate things. I mean, sometimes things go wrong, sometimes things go right, but in truth, what matters is how you're viewing the situation and how is that, how you're reacting to it, how you're responding to that, and what you can create out of that. Like when they say that they give you lemons and do lemonade, right? Like that expression. Um, I think it's good, and it also doesn't mean that you always have to be positive and that you can't be negative or that you can't have bad days, or on the contrary, you're free to have whatever you want. But you also have to know that you are choosing every time, no matter how the circumstances look on the outside, you always have a choice. Always. Okay. Okay, guys, so let me see if I need to say anything else. Here I have some notes. Oh, right. What I wanted to say also is that, hi, Lena. Oh, how do I take this off? I don't know. Sorry, guys, my phone. But maybe a lot of you are going to start to have more like develop more of your like psychic gifts, what they call psychic gifts. Like you may be feeling that your telepathy is increasing, or you're a little bit like even extra sensitive. This is also part of this like thing that we're on. And I'm very happy because we're actually going to do the masculine healing circle on the 4th of December. And I didn't realize that it's right the day of the eclipse and the solar eclipse, which is very symbolic for the masculine. I realized today, and I was like, no wonder why I had to postpone this circle to that date. But we're going to work with that. And then the 18th, yes, the 18th is the full moon. I think there's also another eclipse, if I'm not mistaken. So we're going to work very specifically with masculine and feminine energies this month, because there's a lot of balancing that we need to do. So also with everything that we spoke, when you say you set your intentions, you check your thoughts, then you receive the impulse. Like if God tells you, or you receive the impulse, I'm going to the other side of the street, or I'm going to say hi to this person, do it. That's part of like also the feminine masculine energies working together. Like it's not just here or here, but we also have to like bring it into the physical, right? Through the action. So it's just like even if we're super spiritual, we still have to take a shower every day, right? Like you're not going to be like, oh, let me just manifest like that I'm showering etherically. Yes, you can shower etherically through energy, but still your body is going to need a real shower. So that's what I mean when, you know, are doing your manifestations or you're doing your intentions. When you receive the impulse, act on it. Be brave to act on it. The more you do it, the easier it becomes. And then you just start to like, you have just like, I don't know if some of you guys read tarot, but when you start to receive messages that you're like, okay, there's no way that I created this message. The more you do it, the more you start to trust it and the more you learn to connect. Same thing with your crown. The more you're in that constant like communion or dialogue with God, your crown becomes more expanded. You start to receive more spiritual energy. You develop more. You manifest faster. You don't even have to write things. You just make things happen because you have that energy. But in the same way, like it's not something, especially when we're in the journey, we need to continue to keep that connection open. And how we do that is by continuing with our spiritual practice and continuing to connect with the divine on a daily basis. Even if it's through prayer, even if it's through meditation or active meditation, or maybe even doing exercise. Some people, for me, like now, I don't know why, every time I do some kind of exercise, I start to download a lot. And before I would download when I was sitting down calmly, and now I'm downloading all of these things and information when I'm actually active. So, if you haven't been attuned to your intuition, perhaps change a little bit the scenery, rearrange, because we have been upgrading. Every time we upgrade, remember that all of our senses, all of our perception changes a little bit. It adjusts. So this may mean that maybe now you're having more prophetic dreams and before you didn't, or vice versa. It can be like the contrary for another person, or maybe now you're starting to hear more, or you're starting to know more intuitively, or you have a will to cook and you've never cooked. Do it. Because even through those things, through everything, like this divine consciousness speaks to us through everything, and especially through the things that we love doing and the people that we love and the places that we love, and the experience that we love to feel, to embody. It's like when you're doing a play and you want to play a role, you know that a certain role will make you very happy. You know that you can play that role very well. Maybe if they assign you another role, you'll be like, I don't really feel like playing that role, When I was little, I got assigned to be an apple in a tree. And I didn't feel like it. Right? So I didn't even appear in the show. I was like, Mom, I'm not going to be an apple. And I was like 3, and my mom was like, yes, you are. You're dressed like an apple. You're going to be an apple. I was like, no. It came the theater show, everything, and I wasn't there. I don't know why I didn't want to be an apple. But so we know what we want. We know what would make us happy. So in the same way, like, try to see yourself, what would make you feel happy or peaceful or alive, or um what is it? Like, even if you have no idea what it is, because many times it's not even material, it's something that it's just a feeling. But try to feel it and try to, just say like, okay, today I want to feel like this. I want to feel open. I want to feel supported by the universe, by everything and everyone that I encounter. And you will experience it. Okay. Okay, so any questions so far, guys? I don't even know how much I've spoken. And I hope, I don't even know what time it is. Anyway, anyone has any questions? Or are we good to go to the healing? Okay, I think we're good. Good to go. Thank you, Dorothy. Okay. Okay, wonderful. So, let me see. Where are we going to go? Oh, yeah, about the twin. Oh, yes, and I had a question also about twin flames from Mark. He wrote me on Instagram earlier, and it was about letting go of the person that, you know, someone thought that it was their twin flame, but it wasn't. Or like even if it was just like letting go of the connection because it's not serving. So like you guys know, I don't really think that there's like a specific person that is the twin flame. But for any type of relationship, and especially today, like there is there are many things that you can do, my dear Mark, when you see this, and for everybody who wants to let go of a connection or a situation that you know that it's no longer serving you, but especially if it's a loving connection. You can go and look into the soul contract with that person. That's something that I was studying today with my dear Nilu. So you can go and look into the soul contract, and like, of course, that would mean for you, like if you're intuitive, just like go into meditation and sort of like connect to that person and ask God to show you like what the lesson was with that person. Like what lesson did that person bring into your life? Or what is this person trying to show me? Like what is the agreement here? What am I supposed to teach them and what are they supposed to teach me? What is the lesson for me and what is the lesson for them? It can be different. Maybe I'm teaching them compassion and they're teaching me how to organize my desk, you know, or something like that. Depends. But the lesson will usually be something positive for you. So it may not appear like that. It may be like the way that the lesson appears may be very harsh, but the result of that may be, you know, for example, you know, I was with just an example, like if someone was with an abusive person and then, you know, they decide to separate, and the person, the lesson that the person learned was, for example, to stand up for themselves, right? And they needed to have sort of that mirror of this abusive person in order to actually stand up for themselves. It can be a myriad of things, like it depends, of course, on you and your situation, but in order to like let go of the negative energy that still binds you, like if there's still this like pull or whatever, and you know that it's actually not positive, but it's actually, you know, what we call karmic. Why? Because there's karma. What's the karma? It's that the lesson hasn't been learned. So as long as you don't learn your lesson that the person is teaching you, this person is going to continue to be there, or you're going to continue to feel attached to them, or you may free that person and maybe also another person comes with the same thing if you haven't fully healed that or fully learned that lesson, right? So it can be very helpful to do that, like read the soul contract. There are people who do soul contract readings. I do that now also. And I'm very happy about it, because it's hard to do it actually for oneself. It's kind of like tarot readings. It's very hard to do it for yourself because you become biased very quickly. But you can do it with someone, or you can also do it like try to do that. Like if you have enough awareness of what's going on, you can also do that within yourself. Like if you have already resolved, you know what, this is something that I don't want in my life. This is something that is not like bringing me anywhere. It's not positive. I can go learn the lesson, ask God to download that lesson. And after that, you can like cut the cord with that person, that negative cord, and return their energy back to them and retrieve your energy back to you. This, like if you're doing it alone, it may be a process that you can also do for like 21 days. You can do it for 40 days, depending on the intensity of the relationship, depending how long you were together, or like what happened, what went through, and how it was. Like that also depends. Like I have seen releases like this, like in one day, or like right in that moment, like boom, okay, we're done, we're good, everybody goes in peace. You can even do the Ho'oponopono to like reinforce a little bit. But if like the lessons are still there, they like this will continue to show up, right? So that's one of the things that you can do. And the other thing apart from that is also to like see and analyze, and this is something that we don't do very often. If that person weren't there at all, like how would I feel? And like what space are they filling up for me, and in what area? Like are they filling up maybe a space in my heart where I felt heartbroken, or are they filling up like a need to be seen, or a need to talk to someone, or it can be from the like very small things to even greater things. But you can also like see, okay, if that person is not there, like just imagine, okay, if that person weren't there and they weren't being that mirror for me right now, what is it that I was actually looking for that person, or what do I actually want from that person? What am I looking for there? So maybe you will come with an answer like, I'm looking for to be accepted, or I'm looking to be loved, or I'm looking for a companion in my life, or I'm looking for someone that I can build a beautiful project with, or serve the world, or whatever it is. And if you like pinpoint what that is, then you can actually say, okay, maybe this wasn't the person that this wasn't the right person for me to do that, but at least I know what I want, and I know that I can manifest someone who will want to do that with me. Does that make sense? I hope it makes sense for everybody, and for Mark especially, who had that question. And let me see, Mark, if I see anything else for you specifically. Yeah, like they're saying, or what I'm hearing, like, is that in a way that you already know, like you have been receiving these downloads, and you already, like they're saying, you already know everything you need to know about the situation. And what I would say is also, especially now that everything is like this, like try to, if you can and if you want, and if it's something that comes from you, try to remain as open as possible, just like we were speaking in this whole talk, to all kinds of miracles and things happening, you know, and also to like let go a little bit of the labels and the preconceived thoughts of what a twin flame is, what a person is, what they're this and that. Like, even, just taking like these layers off of you when you see yourself and going back to your innocence and doing the same thing for that other person, like seeing that person as a soul, you know, no matter like what they are, how they look like, what people call them, like it's kind of like, do you care what the name of the person is that you love? No, like you just love them. Like you don't care if their name is this or that, right? Maybe you have a particular taste for a name, maybe, but it's like, don't try not to focus on the things that aren't as important as what really is happening in the now. Because that will help you gain all your strength, put it in the now, in perspective, get your power back from those situations, from that, and be able to like make a decision if you need to make a decision, or to have more clarity, or to know. Like, it's very simple in the end. It's like, do I want to be with this person? Do I want to, um, you know, do this? And if so, is it happening? And if not, do I want to continue with it not happening, or do I want to move on? And we go back to the part of letting go. Mhm. We have a connection with everybody in our lives. We have a connection with, not just with everybody, with everything. Like, even objects have a connection with us. Like, we are connected to absolutely everything. Um, and of course, there are people that we're more connected to because they have more lessons for us, or they have more, gifts for us. Because, as the same thing as we have highs and lows, people that come into our lives, some come with gifts and support, some come with challenges, some come with all sorts of things. But focus on you, like you, what are you creating? What is your environment right now? What do you want there? And like, are there possibly things that you are, ready to let go of in order to make room for something that you do want, if there are things that you don't want in your life? Because also when we say, I want to manifest, love, or, the love of my life, or my soulmate, or whatever, however you call it, like, instead of using that label, I would say, God, I really would like to, like, I feel like I'm really ready to have a partner now that supports me, uh, with whom I can, grow old with, that understands me, that sees me, and that I see him, that, we empower each other. We want to do things together. But we also want to do things apart. That, whatever you want, right? Have that dialogue with, like, within yourself and with your divinity. And if you do that, like sooner or later, that person will show up. And if there are less blockages or attachments to anything else, it will be sooner, right? So it's like trusting more in yourself and in your capacity to create and into knowing um, what you want and what you don't want. Mm-hmm. And also, if you are in relationships, because nothing is ideal, of course, never. Like, even if you meet the love of your life, um, that also doesn't mean that you're going to be together forever. And I can tell you by experience. Um, but it means that you get to have this moment to enjoy. And if you're sharing love with someone, even if it's a moment, cherish it, treasure it, take it in your heart. It's like count your blessings and continue. You will find more treasures. That is a given. There will always be more. There will always be uh, there will always be more to you, and especially if you continue in your journey towards yourself, you will create more consciousness, and the higher consciousness you have, the higher consciousness people and beings will come into your life and situations. So it's a progression, it's a process, but it's also the willingness to choose and to say, this is good for me, this is not good for me. I choose myself, or I choose to be with this person. But it's, again, it's also a choice. There is no imposition, and there is no, no one is going to be left out without a chair. Like in the parties with the when the children. I don't know if you have that. We have that here in Mexico, that people just like dance around the chairs, and then the music stops, and then there's a chair that less. So people start to go out and out. Well, the children. But here it's not like that. Like, everybody has a chair. Okay, sometimes we just need to find it, to find the chair. Okay. And the more open and space we create for the divine to bring uh, that love to us, in all shapes and forms, and in every way, you're opening up these streams. And instead of having only one stream that is flowing your way, and you need that stream to fulfill everything, you actually open all the streams, and suddenly you're like, just like, you have so much coming in, and then you're like, oh wow, why was I feeling like I didn't have, when actually it was everything here. Okay, I hope that makes sense. Okay, guys, so let's go to a small healing before I run out of battery. Okay. And we're just going to stabilize everybody. Like I said, we have the full moon for the feminine energies on the 18th, for the masculines on the 4th, the masculine healing circle. And I also had another announcement. I forgot. What did I want to say? Oh, and I'm going to do another live Q&A on Thursday. Yes, this coming Thursday, I think at 8 p.m. So, like, if you want to send me your questions, like specific questions, all of that, you can just post them where I post the thing, and we will go into that, because this was more like a teaching. But on Thursday we will be doing like more of this Q&A, and maybe even we can do a couple of mini healings, okay? Or if you need advice or so on, I'm going to be there. also in the full moon ceremonies, this is what we do. Like anyone that needs help, support, you can always ask your questions, speak, share. And this one in particular, it's going to be very beautiful and special, I think, because it's like a topic that I have been seeing in the feminine coming up a lot. And it has to do with like reclaiming and embracing our divine right to feel pleasure and to be sensual and sexual beings without being attacked, and without, like, in a safe way, in a sacred way for us. So this starts, of course, within, and there's a lot to this subject. I have been putting little things here and there, but I really wanted to go into it because I have seen a lot of sort of like, even like patients, women that I work with that are trying to manifest, for example, love, partnership, etc., etc. Sometimes there are even like some vows from past lifetimes, vows of, like contracts with other people, with other men, but also vows of like, I'm going to be dedicated to spirituality, or a lot of these like, yeah, like how do you say that? Yeah, vows, limitations that come from past lifetimes or from this lifetime that don't allow the women to really feel safe in their bodies, and to feel safe to enjoy and express our sensual and sexual nature, which is part of everything that we are, is part of the, it's our creative energy. And a lot of times, women, or also men, who are not in touch with their like sensual and sexual energy, they may become either like very shut down, or it can even be a cause for depression, or it can even be a cause to become like very like introverted, or not wanting to see anybody, being very shy and things like that. But the truth is that uh, of course, there are so many things that come from that, and we have endured a lot of things and abuse and all these things. But when you reclaim your body and your pleasure and your creative energy, like you become a power, like you become a force so strong that not just manifestation becomes way easier and happier and instantaneous, um, but you actually start to like open yourself up to enjoy life, and to enjoy those little moments in life, and to have happiness in your life. Happiness is not something that is like this, you know happiness comes and goes, but contentment is something that can be always there. And you can also build that contentment through your own energies. So it's basically like uh, transmuting the energy, or alchemizing the energy. And this is a lot of what I will go into a lot of detail in my course for the goddesses, and also in the retreat. Last announcement. Yes, I wanted to say that I will be sending all that information out. I had to take a little break because we had like so much going on, and I'm actually going to have to hire like some people to have like a very small team, so that I can keep up with everything because I'm no longer able to do it all by myself. Um, so I will also be posting an announcement in case you know anybody who would be interested like in working with me. I will post that very soon for like it's only going to be like 2 things, I guess, or maybe 3. things that could help us out. And yes, and you can definitely, I will do like an application thing, and you can definitely apply, or let me know if you know someone who would be um, interested. And that way, like, we can all continue with everything. That's one of the things that I always teach, to have your space to create and to expand in a way that is nurturing for you, and that we, taking into consideration our feminine qualities. So that was like a big sort of awakening for me the last 2 weeks. I was like, okay, it's time to have a little bit of support. So just wanted to share that. And I will share a lot of how, I work with those energies in the full moon mother. And this is not such a sexy but, no, but it's very important, very, very important, especially for loving relationships, right? So for men to be able to have, or the masculine energy to be able to have a healthy relationship to their partners and spouses, etc., without having the sort of like the shadow of the mother figure in there. Mm-hmm. And this is not just like karmic; it's something that well, we all have. We all work as the feminine. We also work with the father wound, but also with the mother wound. With the masculine, the same. But this time, this circle on the 4th of December, it's going to be about the mother wound, which is something that I have seen in my clients and patients. That is one of the most like unconscious in a way, but one of the most common troublemaker in relationships, because it actually sort of like creates the environment where the feminine feels like she has to be the mother, or has to be mothering to the masculine, and that sometimes creates a lot of issues and troubles, and even the feminine becoming more masculine, etc. So we will go into all of those things there. If you also know masculine who would benefit from this circle, we had a lot of fun last time. Everyone who's there is so kind, and like, I really see them like white knights. Like, we have the round table there of white knights, and it's very beautiful to see all of these men like rising up too, and doing the work and wanting to be there for the feminine. And it doesn't matter if they're not your particular masculine right now. The fact that they're doing that, it means, and the fact that the feminine is also continuing to work on her, it means that we are also like coming into like more awareness of each other. Mm-hmm. So I'm happy every time to see more masculine joining these sorts of courses, and also being there for each other, and supporting. And me, I know that I'm not a masculine, right? But I come into those sessions with a neutral energy, and I also assist through my own feminine experience, right? And perspective, but also through masculine teachings, and a lot of teachings on masculine energy, which I have studied a lot throughout my life. So that's that. Okay. And yes, probably on the full moon already, or on maybe even on Thursday, I will be able to give you guys more details about the goddess course and the goddess retreat in Mexico. Okay. Exactly, Craig. I think nothing that I have I can put in a regular resume, which is funny. Okay, so let's prepare. Let's go into the healing. Okay. Can anyone tell me far how far along we are in the time? Just because I can't see. like how long we have been going in the life? Let me know, guys. And thank you for your donations. Thank you for your support. Um, thank you for being here. I know that sometimes I kind of like started to do a little bit more stuff now on Instagram because I hadn't been there. So I'm trying to like go back and forth, but as soon as I find, oh, great, thank you. As soon as I find, oh no, I'm disconnecting. Okay, so just close your eyes, take a deep breath in. You can set your viewpoint on the forehead chakra, the ajna, or on the tip of the nose, wherever you want. And start circulating the energy through your body. We're seeing a beautiful blue energy all around you. And at the center of your body, we're seeing a beautiful fuchsia, violet energy. Okay, and we're going to clear any energies from the outside world. You can see a huge sphere of white and silver light around you. And we start to spin it very, very, very fast, counterclockwise. Okay, we're going to start grounding through a beautiful golden cord, like spiraling down all the way into the center of the mother, the heart of Mother Earth. You can feel her heartbeat, her warmth, her strength. Kind of just saying, my blood is your blood. So just receiving the strength and the nourishment through her warmth, through her beautiful, free and protective nature. All the nurturance going up through this cord into your body. And a lot of you are, I'm seeing you with these wings. We're clearing these wings as if they had been uh, like trapped. So they're just clearing, repairing. So clearing and repairing through the nervous system, through the blood. And clearing the throat and the heart axis. I'm seeing this like horizontal loop. Just clearing that. Allowing the throat to relax. They're just releasing any codes that you don't need. As we approach the head, they're placing a beautiful golden halo on the top of your head. You can start seeing this halo shine brighter and brighter and brighter. Releasing also through the throat. Releasing through the ears and the jaw. Seeing a lot releasing through the masculine, through the jaw and the ears. You may also have been feeling like ringing in the ears or like pops in the ears, like pressure. Adjusting to the new frequencies, releasing all of the old frequencies, because this also affects the feminine energy. Anywhere we are trapped, of course, any part of us, like if one pole is having difficulty, it's going to have some sort of effect on the other. And we're releasing a lot of this heaviness and burden through the back of both the feminine and masculine energy. You see the feminine in this fuchsia, rose, pink tone, and the masculine in blue. Just releasing, so out of the spine, the shoulders, the back of the shoulders, the neck, all of the tension. They're saying all of this pressure to be, all of this pressure to be, to become. So we're going to release the outside pressure. And this is for the masculine. They're saying you are not at the mercy of the world. The world is at the mercy of you. So bring back the power through your hands, your knowing, your capacity, everything that you have done over lifetimes, the capacity to take action, to hold space for yourself, for others, to provide a safe space, a sacred space. To give. They're saying it is in giving that we receive. And just acknowledging, and also the feminine is acknowledging that beautiful constant like effort or action of the masculine energy to be there for her, for this change, for this new world. And they're also showing me the sky, the stars, and the earth on the trees. Just feel that connection, how there's this beautiful, it's like a beautiful music that goes from the stars and descends. And there are different tones of music as you go closer to the sky and to the stars. Okay, and then going to the feminine, we're going to the womb. Releasing anyone that has been stuck through the body, through the past. They're showing me like this beautiful feminine figure just like being lifted off these sinking sands. And we said like your angels, two angels carrying you, carrying the feminine into this beautiful land where there is red sand and red rocks. And just feeling how it feels to really land in a safe space, in a safe place for you, for your body. They're saying for your sons and daughters, for your love. Releasing also any blockages through the spine of the feminine, going from the root all the way up to the head. We can see each vertebrae being cleansed with golden light. The 8 original cells at the bottom of the spine as well. And this is all being done under the divine protection and supervision of your angels, your teams of light, as sacred chambers of light. Yama Yashiata Okumata Arata Arata Arambaita Ku Umana Yerianta Yamashia Tayapa Umhata. Okay, now you can just picture that you're in this golden sphere. And you can be there with the masculine energy, or with your own feminine and masculine energy, just seeing these two energies in this sphere, sort of like the yin yang symbol, but they're like spinning, combining, adjusting, readjusting. And at the same time, this sphere is also being brought up into the highest frequency possible for you at this time, in the highest protection possible, in the highest protection that there is. And knowing that they're saying this is a sacred word and the sacred code, whether spoken or not, you can let your heart speak. You can also listen to the other's heart speak, allowing your mind to drift off, to let go of all the control mechanisms, all the grasping for life, without realizing that you are life itself, that life is moving through you and into everything, starting to gather your light, all of these beautiful drops of light are gathering around your body in this sphere. And where there were two energies, you can start to see sort of like a physical shape, but with golden drops in it, starting to manifest, starting to materialize. And we see all the seeing the custodians and the guardians around you, around the sphere, and we also see a lot of these great light beings, angels, and guardians around the earth, as if we were looking from space. And we see them holding different codes and different frequencies and projecting them into the earth. And also creating a special layer of protection for everyone who is here in the service of love and light. Hiria shiritan herie miem ba'awo uru hatari ya awu ye ubahari ya taewu huya bashari shu. They're just blessing, sending healing to everyone who needs healing, sending love and support and guidance to everyone who needs that, sending clarity, purity, neutrality, divine wisdom. And they're also downloading the divine components and elements that you need right now to feel more supported in your life, in your journey, in your inner world and your outer world, in all of your multidimensionality throughout all space, time, and dimension. And I'm going to ask to please download a protocol for each one of you, a unique protocol for each one of you who listens to this, to intuitively know, feel, see exactly how you are the creator of your reality, and the gift, the blessing to use this protocol for your highest good and the highest good of all. And it's just going through your eyes, through your third eye. It's registering through the brain, in the brain. They're releasing any discordant thoughts that would contradict this. Feel both feminine and masculine energies. Continuing to release the burdens, releasing the families, the ancestry, the past lifetimes, anything that came up through this eclipse, releasing any guilt, remorse, shame, and any feeling of impossibility. And they're just saying there's nothing stopping you. You are free, you are here now. You are protected. You can continue to cultivate the flame, the awareness, and continue to let it shine, let it grow, as it will also burn away everything that needs to go for you to become who you've always been, and the highest embodied expression of God of divinity. Through the feminine or the masculine, or both. Layeka asha ta'anem ata era ta'a layemayadam shao. Relax the body, relax the shoulders, feeling this rose energy, feeling all of the help of this is Mary and Yeshua, the templates, downloading the codes, the templates, the pillars of light, the protection for you. And they're also downloading a pillar of light into the heart. You're saying into the center of the awakened one. And it has a beautiful energy as if it was like constantly receiving energy, but also beaming energy out, down. And it's a beautiful golden, like liquid energy with beautiful sparks. And just allowing this to be ignited within you, within your heart, to continue to cleanse and purify you in all the ways that you need, to release you from everything that you're ready to be released of, everything that you wish to let go of. And we're going to go through the masculine just to rewire and release any tension, anxiety, any distortion through the electrical conduits, the receptors, and the synapses of the brain. Yeshayikwa hama aniet ampo op mai ene ena maeta mai Sha'ananda Hita Haranda Dharanda. Okay, and we're going back to the feminine. Strengthening the heart, your projection, your capacity, your caliber as the divine expression of God, as the divine grace of God. You can even say, I am divine, I am blessed with grace, I am blessed with momentum, I am blessed with support, I am blessed with infinite abundance. I receive. And I forgive. And this is specifically towards the masculine. Okay, and then we just see them holding hands, embracing Maikya Yet as if the earth was embracing with the water of the earth as well. We're just going to bless everybody, all of the beings, the animals, everybody in this world who needs it right now. May this love and this union bless, ripple, and reflect to everything thousands and thousands and thousands of times to infinity, the speed of God. Vishata hita atami hema atama We're just going to seal all and thanking everyone, all the high beings, the masters, the teachers, Medicine Buddha, Rita Mataya, Mother Mary, Yeshua, everyone who is here, all of your angels, the guardians, the light beings, that protect the earth, and humanity. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for your love. Thank you for your unconditional support. Thank you for all your divine blessings. Thank you for all your healing. Thank you for your guidance. Thank you for being here with us and for letting us know that you have never left, that you are always here. Thank you. It is done. It is done. It is done. So it is. So just breathing in deeply. If you want to go to sleep right after this, you're perfectly able to do that. Just drink a little bit of water before you go to bed, please. Try to drink water the next 5 days at least. Okay. How is everybody feeling? Thank you, Dorothy. Thank you, guys. Yes. I'm glad, Craig. I'm glad, Lulia. You guys are awesome. Remember that, okay? We're all here together. You too, Craig. Sending you many blessings to all. Send you blessings and hugs, virtual hugs. Thank you. Thank you so much. I'm always here, guys, okay? Always ask your questions, you know. I really love to hear from you, and I also, you know, take inspiration from all your feedback to do the next things, okay? Thank you, Magda. Thank you, everybody. It was a pleasure to be here. Hope you have a wonderful week, and a week filled with miracles and a lot of blessings and magic. Okay. Enjoy it. Bye, guys. Until soon. Bye.